Hello everyone, welcome back to World Cup over Coffee Talks. So this is episode 4. So I'm going to be talking about the Mexico game and the tournament itself. So when England when England was playing against Mexico in the great city of Mexico City, in that most amazing stadium, Azteca Stadium, what a stadium and what a great match it was. We beat them 3-2. What I'm thinking from my point of view is that the Mexicans are such great people, such great football fans, and I would like to see more friendlies between us and the Mexicans in the future because they're great. They're one of the most friendly fans I ever seen. Obviously, I watched it on, it was 2 a.m. in the morning. So, yes. It was a big delay for us who are, hoping to have some sleep, but it was worth it. Anyway, if you are here, you're new here, I do football takes. Obviously the World Cup is over. I do calm, entertaining football takes like this video. And I will be carrying on this format for the new season of the Premier League. So subscribe if you'd like to, like and comment. I'll be very interested to hear from your point of view. So yes, Mexico, the way England defended in the last 10 minutes of the game, yes, there was all talks about the altitude, where we need to acclimatise to the altitude and here and there. And I like people probably, forgotten that we do have what is called sports science. And I know that England prepared for about a year to do this World Cup because they put players in extreme heat camps. And what I mean by extreme heat camps is that you would have like a stationary gym bike, and then they would pump up the air in this tent to fill in really hot temperatures, and would experience conditions here. And I'm sure they must have done something similar because they probably planned when they know about who we were going to be playing in the group stage. And I'm sure they put out some scenarios and thinking, do you think we might be playing against Mexico? Or even playing a game in Mexico. So that's one big part of planning, the preparations into the, of going into the World Cup. Obviously, they need to look at where they were going to be based, because they were based in Kazan, somewhere in Texas, I think, or somewhere near that. Americans, correct me if I'm wrong. I enjoyed watching the Mexico game more than I watched the Norway game, because it's the last 32. And when you're in the last 32, and it feels like an extra round, it wasn't needed. It should have been the last 8. But FIFA decided to have one more round, which is, it's up to the interpretations, whatever you think you want to say. I really enjoyed that game, the build up to it, and during the game and after the game, I think the Mexicans, obviously, they probably wanted to go a little bit more further than the last 32. Mexico are a great side, it's just that they still need to build on, getting good players into the team and be like, be ready and stuff. Obviously, they're putting in the harder last 32. Obviously, they had to face us, the English. The styles quite similar, but we have determination, grit, passion, and the fans with their singing of Wonderwall. So yeah, I would say that was my favourite match of the tournament. From if I'm watching out of all England games, I prefer my favourite was when England beat against Mexico. So I am really, really happy about the way England performed this tournament. Yes, I know there's been heavy criticisms of Thomas Tuchel's job about the way we, got knocked out in the semi-finals against Argentina. But, to be honest, when Spain played against Argentina, it was 0-0 in the first half, and then, they sort of struggled to break down Argentina. But I think if we hang on to a win against Argentina, it would have classed as a world-class thing to do. It would have been like, that was amazing. How did you do that against one of the great Argentinian sides, and with Lionel Messi in it and all that? But, it's hindsight at the moment now. Everything we talk about the tournament is in hindsight, because the tournament is done, finished. The way we scored against Argentina was amazing with Anthony Gordon. But the second half, it wasn't good. The way Argentina came back and the way they celebrated, it was like in your face, aggressive celebrations, and obviously that political thing they did in the end really put a sour taste. I'm talking about, if you're drinking, the most sour thing you could taste, that's what, the way the Argentinians celebrated about that match. I'm trying to be neutral here because I have got Argentinian relatives, through marriage, not my marriage, I'm not married, I'm single. Well, I do have a hot neighbour who's, looking after me. I do have a Argentinian relative through my brother's marriage. I'm trying to be neutral and all that sort of thing, but it's got to be said, if you're playing football and you really want to try and win the match, you don't. They spent a lot of time walking. Lionel Messi, I saw a stat the other day say that he only walked 47, well, he walked 47% of the time. I don't know whether is that for like the last match or throughout the whole tournament. If that's for throughout the whole tournament, and you're like, he walked. Literally, all the matches I have seen Lionel Messi playing for Argentina in this tournament was walking and arguing with the referee. That's all the things I saw him doing. Yes, he scored some goals. I know some of you might be going on the comment and saying, oh, he scored some goals, he scored some goals. So, I think if Argentina think back and thinking, why did we behave like this? Why did we do this? Why did we do that? I think for the right reasons, Spain won. Spain, yes, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial. Spain, you may have been, I know that you are undefeated in 38 matches. What I don't understand is he may have a good side, but some matches he did struggle. And if England were to play in the final, I think we would have beaten Spain 1-0, I think, because Spain, I feel like they didn't have that desire and hunger to really actually play football. So yeah.